kick things off with an FOS.
Yes.
A friend of Stink.
Yeah.
The great Ron Jaworski joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you guys and many friends of Stink. And by the way, before we get started, he does a phenomenal job on television, breaking the game down and calling games. And, you know, I've done that for a number of years, Monday Night Football, all those things, and I know how hard it is. He does a phenomenal job of detailing the game. So, Stink, you do a phenomenal job.
Let me give my man his props, because he works hard at it. I know. I mean, he's always going over film. He's meeting with people who, you know, are teaching him some of the aspects of the game. That
I taught him everything. I taught him everything he knows.
Well,
yeah. You know what? You know what's been really interesting is I've started to study the game differently like a coach, and Mike Shanahan has been a great mentor to me, and I'm over at his house all the time. He's kind of teaching me the game from a different perspective. And, you know, I've never given you guys as quarterbacks a lot of credit, but you guys got a pretty difficult job.
Oh, boy, don't go too far out on a limb now. Yeah.
Right. No, but it's amazing, and we've got one of the best, in my mind, one of the best that I have seen as a young quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. Tell me a little bit about both the quarterbacks as you walk into this game and you start breaking it down and looking at these guys.
Yeah, Mark, you're exactly right. And when I look at Mahomes, I'll start with Patrick. And, you know, I'm a little bit old school in this approach. I like the way Andy Reid handled him. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we see too often now, you know, bright star comes out of college. He starts week one and he gets destroyed physically and mentally. Patrick Mahomes had a year behind Alex Smith, learning the game, the professional game, learning how to be a pro, act like a pro, study like a pro, learn the command of the locker room, all those little nuances of football that a young quarterback really doesn't know how to handle. So I give Andy credit, and hey, look at Andy's history with quarterbacks. It's been phenomenal. He knows the position. Andy's also a teacher. And too often, guys roll the ball out there and say, hey, go play. Andy teaches the game. Every quarterback he's had has understood the game. Now, we all see the phenomenal God-given talent of Patrick Mahomes moving out of the pocket, different platforms. I mean, you know, we've all broken that down enough. The one thing that I see when I look at the tape is really the cerebral part of Patrick Mahomes' game, of where he is from a mental standpoint, where everyone is. Now, first of all, you see all the shifts, motions, audibles at the line of scrimmage. That's uncommon for a young quarterback like that. So he's been coached and taught properly. Then the understanding of when he does move, gets outside the pocket, where people are. Boy, that sounds like a dumb statement, doesn't it, Jaws? Yeah. No, but you need to understand where people are when you break the pocket, what the scramble rules are, where people are going to be. He has a knack for understanding that part of the cerebral game of playing quarterback.
Yeah. Now, what about Jimmy Garoppolo? What have you seen with him as he is, you know, left the New England system into Kyle Shanahan's system? And what, I mean, you want to talk about unselfishness. 8 throws, not in a quarter, in a game, and happy, you know, and happy to do it that way. But he's been a guy that has been really interesting to watch.
I love the way Jimmy plays the game. And here's when you see him play, and I'll go to TV first. You know, it's a different thing when you watch TV, but you know what they show Jimmy? He's having fun.
Yeah.
He's enjoying football. He enjoys the pressure. He got that little grin on his face in the huddle, high-fiving. I love a quarterback with that enthusiasm for the game. He certainly has been the guy that's been overlooked in this game, but don't overlook Jimmy Garoppolo. You watch him play, and I know you're the wonk like I am. We studied this tape. You see him outside the pocket. He does some things better than Patrick Mahomes outside the pocket with movement, accuracy, finding receivers. He's got a tremendous deep ball. He's not asked to throw deep a lot, but when he throws, he's very accurate. And you see that repetitive accuracy out of Garoppolo. That's very important. But, you know, we know what the 49ers want to do. You know, hey, they want to hammer you with the running game, and they have a fantastic running game. But don't discount Jimmy Garoppolo's ability to make plays.
All right, so we're talking about a couple of Super Bowl quarterbacks. We in Denver hope we're sitting on a potential great quarterback down the road in Drew Lock. I don't know how much you got a chance to watch him down the stretch. What did you think? Impressions?
Loved him coming out. Again, had a lot of playing time in college, looked like a polished collegiate quarterback, not a guy that left after 1 year. He stayed, he played, and he learned. And you know, he ended up in a good situation. Obviously, he got hurt. That was the negative part of it. But, you know, Joe Flacco's there. And I don't know what Joe's going to do. He had the neck injury. No one really knows. I spoke to Joe a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure he knows what he's going to do. He's kind of seeing how this thing plays out. But Joe's the veteran quarterback that he had an opportunity to learn from. So that goes a long way as well. But it's like anything else. You got to have some offensive linemen, you know, and you got to have balance, and that will come in time. But the talent is definitely there.
What is one of the things that impressed me most, because obviously there's always arm talent, there's always guys, athleticism and all that stuff, and that stuff is, tangible. It's easy to see, you can watch it on film, you can watch it on television, and that's easy. It's the intangible stuff, the third down, the completions, the buying himself some time, throwing it across his body, finding a guy that's open, like you said about Mahomes, scramble around, but knowing where people are. That's the stuff that impressed me. I was like, hey, I know that he can throw the ball. Like, I know that he's got a big arm. I know that he's got arm talent. It's the intangible stuff. How hard is that as a quarterback, as a young quarterback, to develop that? And then going forward, this is going to be his 6th offensive coordinator in the last 6 years. How difficult is that?
That's horrible.
Right.
It is horrible. It's like learning a new language every single year. One year you're speaking English, next year you're speaking Spanish, next year you're speaking French, next year you're speaking Italian. That is hard to do. And that's what you do to a quarterback when you change a game plan. You get a new playbook. You finally got the playbook down. Oh, hey, here's a new playbook. Learn this one in 3 months of the offseason. It's very hard to do. But you talked about intangibles, and I'll go back to, like you're talking about Shanahan and guys that you've been mentored by and a coaching standpoint. And Bill Parcells is a guy that I really, and I played against Bill for a lot of years against him, but I learned a lot from him working up at ESPN and getting to know Bill through the years. And you remember his favorite statement, and I think it says so much about the quarterback position. Bill says, hey, when you're winning, everything's going great, and you're throwing 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions, and 60,000 people stand up cheering, going, oh, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, you're the greatest. That's easy. Have that game where you throw 4 interceptions, you've been sacked 5 times, your nose has been bloodied, 70,000 people are booing you, and you got to walk in that huddle on practice Tuesday when 20 eyeballs around you, they want to see how you're going to react. Mm-hmm. Those are the intangibles that you need to see, not when everything's going great. Oh, boy, we all puff our chest out when it's going good. Who is the guy that has the courage to stand up when he just got sacked 5 times, his nose is bloodied, and threw 4 interceptions? That's the guy you want to see how he handles that. If he handles that adversity, that's a tangible you want to find out about your quarterback.
Visiting with Ron Jaworski. Tell me about Pat Shurmur, because the Broncos made the switch from a first-time offensive coordinator, Rich Scangarello, and there was clearly a disconnect there between him and Vic Fangio. Now a veteran offensive coordinator, along with a veteran quarterback coach now, Mike Shula. Yep. How do those two guys help Drew Lock in his development that you wouldn't get from an inexperienced coordinator like a Scangarello?
It's a stroke of genius to me for Vic Fangio to bring in Pat Shurmur and Mike Shula. They've been together in New York. So they're thinking alike now. And they know they have a young quarterback. Oh, by the way, Daniel Jones up in New York. So, hey, they were working with a young quarterback. And Daniel Jones, by the way, I thought he played pretty damn good this year. So, Locke's got to start getting excited about the people that are around him. I've known Pat Shurmur for 20 years. The guy is a rock solid football coach. He deserved one more year in New York, but that's neither here nor there now. He's out in Denver, and I think he'll do a terrific job. He understands. I always use the B word. Mark, we used to work on all those shows at ESPN. I always throw out the B word. The key to long-term success in the NFL as a quarterback is have balance. The ability to turn around and hand the ball off. The ability to turn around, fake the handoff, pull it in, throw play action for explosive plays. Sean Payton was walking by a moment ago, one of the best in the business at designing explosive plays and manufacturing points. Pat Shurmur can do that. So if I was Drew Lock, and if I was a Denver Bronco fan, I'd be excited about Pat Shurmur and Mike Shula.
I think one of the things that I'm most excited about in regards to this is it feels to me, and I always say this, it's one thing to appoint a coach, another thing to empower a coach. This feels like a move from upstairs to say, we're empowering you to pick your guys. Because when you become a coach, you become a coach late in the process. You know who you want, but oftentimes you can't get those guys. They're on a contract somewhere else, and so it's about putting your staff together. This feels like hey, we're empowering you, Vic, to put your staff together.
And sometimes it takes time. You've been with different organizations. Right. I played with 4 teams, in the NFL. So, you just don't go into year one. Oh, you got this veteran experience. It takes time. Vic Fangio, I go back with Vic to the early days of the Philadelphia Stars in the USFL.
Yes.
We'd share the same field at Veterans Stadium. I got to know Vic and Dom Capers and all those guys back then. Vic labored for, 30-some years before he finally got a head coaching job. So now he's going to really articulate the type of coaches he wants. And he's going to get those kinds of guys. And the fact that he's going to empower is a great word.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat, it's yours, man. Make it work. Make it happen. I'm going to be the head coach, or I'll run defense, but, hey, it's yours. I'm not going to be looking over your shoulder.